Dyslexia, where you mix up letters, get them the wrong way around when you're writing them down, is a horrible condition, and for those who suffer from it, it makes life at work a very, very difficult thing. But research by Julie Logan of Cass Business School has discovered something quite incredible. Twice as many entrepreneurs as you would expect, given the number of dyslexic people, have dyslexia. Why can this be? Let's ask her. Dr. Logan, tell me, how does this happen? How did you discover this?
Well, some time ago I was running programs for entrepreneurs, and we found that very often there were people who had the most amazing vision, but they actually weren't very keen to commit it to paper. And it turned out that many of these entrepreneurs were dyslexic. Now, I hadn't come across this when I was teaching and training corporate managers. So I started to investigate the incidence of dyslexia in entrepreneurs, did a very large study with entrepreneurs in the UK and in the US, and found that there were twice as many entrepreneurs as in the adult population in the UK, and actually almost 3 times as many in the US. What was really interesting is that 19% of entrepreneurs in the UK were dyslexic, and only 1% of corporate managers. So it seemed that for some reason entrepreneurs or people who are dyslexic were going off and starting their own businesses. We looked into why this might be, and you might have thought, for example, that it's because they don't have a degree and they can't get so far in the organisation, but actually it's not that. It's very much about controlling the environment around them. And in the corporate organisation, very often their talent and their skills, their right brain skills, are not valued, and it can be very stressful for them because although, for example, they might be very good at communication and selling, they might be in a situation where they're having to do a lot of paperwork to support that, and that is quite stressful. So what we actually found is in many cases they're starting businesses so they can actually control the environment around them, do what they're really good at, and bring in other people to compensate for what they're not so good at.
So to a degree this is because they might struggle in a corporate organisation because of what is a disability, but
Exactly.
When they're in charge of their own destiny, then they can shine.
They can shine, exactly. And one of the things we found that they do is they have got skills that they've learned through being dyslexic, such as they have learned to delegate and get other people to do things for them because, they want to cover up the fact that perhaps they're not quite so good at spelling or organisation or sentence composition. They've learned to have excellent oral skills to compensate for their written weaknesses. They actually learn how to manage or get the best out of people, but how to get people to do things for them. And these are all very, very important skills. For example, Geoffrey Quinn from TN Lewin was telling me that he always employs people who are really bright and better than him, and you mustn't be afraid to do that. Now, very many entrepreneurs are afraid to employ people who seem to be better than them because they find it threatening. So, that's just one example. This business of communicating the vision. And then the other thing we found, so in the study we found this ability to delegate, this ability to communicate and harness people behind the vision, but also this ability to be very intuitive and use the right brain skills, which many dyslexics have, these creative skills, problem-solving skills, and which many people who are perhaps left brain find it more difficult to use. I mean, we all have those skills, but people who are right-brained use them more.
Now, it's a fascinating discovery, but why is it useful? How can this actually be turned to create an advantage, to be turned to positive effect?
Exactly. I mean, that's what this is all about. Otherwise, it doesn't matter at all. I think the message here is if we know that many entrepreneurs are struggling with things like leadership, communicating their vision, delegation, and yet we know that these entrepreneurs are successful, the dyslexic entrepreneurs, because they're doing that, and we have a wealth of evidence showing that, These are the skills we need to be inculcating in entrepreneurs. Now, the government are always looking for high growth entrepreneurs. A major barrier for company growth is the fact that many entrepreneurs cannot communicate their vision, they cannot harness people behind it, and they cannot delegate so that they can concentrate on the future of the business. We need to be teaching these skills that we've learned through this research to entrepreneurs who've just started their businesses, or even, they're thinking about starting, but certainly once they've started and they're getting going, this sort of help should be available to them so that they can really grow quickly and not waste time just trying out different methods of leading.
And this is also just a wonderful discovery that people who have dyslexia can find out about themselves. The fact that this is, actually dyslexia is not a barrier to starting a business and being very successful indeed.
Exactly. There are so many stories about people in large corporates struggling, people who are dyslexic, and this is just one example of a place that dyslexics can really shine. I'm sure there are many others, but this is one really good example. So starting your own business, you can use your creative skills, you can use your people skills, and the fact that you think differently from other people is a major advantage in the marketplace, particularly now, of course, in this rather different business environment in which we're working.
Julie, it's a fascinating discovery. Thank you very much for coming in to tell us about it, and please keep us posted with further developments.
Thank you.
Till next time on Cast Talks.